include that.
Well, it was apparent pretty early on that this was going to be a game that required grit. This was going to be a game that required defense. This was going to be a game that required toughness. Maybe kind of your take on what this game, playing in a game like this and what this shows about this team's identity. Maybe Kalib, we start with you.
Well, we practiced this week. We was talking about how, Texas is a really good rebounding team. The last time we played them at Tech, at third crib, we gave up too many offensive rebounds. And honestly, I don't think we did a better job this game, but we held our own. We fought on the glass better. And then, honestly, man, those 2 overtimes, that's just extra time in practice. That's extra conditioning, really. And we fought as a team.
You referenced conditioning. Texas in overtime and in double overtime had 0 field goals. Do you feel like your defense and just kind of the way that you played and the way that you were able to match up with them maybe wore them down and took the life out of them a little bit? Maybe Cade would give that one to you.
Yeah, we did a really good job running them off 3 line tonight. I think that was the biggest thing. Them going 5 for 35. They're a really good 3-point shooting team. So that was one of our main points of emphasis to, defend the 3-point line. And I think we did that. And I think, over the course of the game, I think it played in our favor.
Members of the media, if you have a question for Oklahoma State's Kalib Boone or Cade Cunningham, please click raise hand and we'll try and get to everybody. We just ask that you please address the question to whoever it is that you want to answer it. Our first question is going to come from Jacob Unruh from the Oklahoman. Go ahead, Jacob.
Yeah, Cade, can you just kind of put in perspective the last week or so for you and clutch big moments and kind of what you've gone through? You had the moments against Arkansas, then the TCU game, which I'm sure you missed that layup, but then today, kind of put it in perspective for me.
I know at the end of the game, team wants the ball to be in my hands, and I try to make plays. So, I'm not gonna shy away from the moment, even if the time before didn't go right or things like that. I feel like that would be cheating my team. So, yeah, I try to stay aggressive. TCU game just had a mental lapse, not knowing the score and things like that. So, coming into this game, I definitely want to be smarter, things like that. I was really inefficient, but late in the game, I had to make shots.
That guy, basically.
Were you frustrated at all with your inefficiency?
I was happy with the win.
Yeah, that's fair. When you guys got in here on the Zoom, Kalib here was talking about he needed to get rebounds. You kept telling him to get rebounds. Can you guys kind of walk us through that conversation in those moments?
Well, we broke through the huddle, and I heard Dallas and KP and EP saying rebound. Coach Mike wrote on the board saying rebound, this is a game. So now I walk out there, and then Cade literally pulled me. He was like, KB, I just need 1 rebound. Dallas was telling me, don't let your man get it. Cade said, go get the rebound. So I said, honestly, I don't like to box out. So I said, I'm going to just go get the rebound. And then I got 1. And then Cade said, go get another one. I'm going to move him out. I said, bet. Let's go get another one. And then when we scored and we went back down there, he said, KB, I just need 1 more. I promise you 1 more. I'm going to move everybody out. So I said, okay, bet. And then I got another one for him. So then, because after I got that one in my mind, I said, I'm so tired, but my legs hurt.
15 rebounds is big time, for sure.
Was that in the double overtime? I want to make sure I got the time period right.
It's just all the jumping. Yeah, double overtime. Yeah, double overtime is when he said it.
And for you, KB, today to come out there without MA in there too, how much did you kind of put on yourself to go out there and dominate the way you did in the paint?
I honestly didn't put anything on myself. I just went out here and played. Honestly, the more when I put stuff on my shoulders and stuff, I played you could tell I'm out there just thinking too much. I started the game, I was like, okay, bet, I'm gonna just play hard, do what I need to do. Don't show really any emotion. I show my emotion, warm-ups and stuff like that, but when it's time to go, just look, stuck and ready to play, and that's what I did. When I knew my team needed us to rebound because they out-rebounded us last time, and I was like, I just got to rebound this game. That's what I did, which led to points.
Awesome. Thanks, fellas.
Our next question comes from Frank Bonner from the Tulsa World. Go ahead, Frank.
Hey, can Cade, this first one is for you. There were a lot of swings in this game. Texas had that early 7-0 run. Y'all had the 21-6 run. They had a 15-2 run in the second half. When those haymakers are coming, what's the mentality in the huddles to, keep taking the punches and giving them back?
We don't want to trade baskets. I think there's a lot of traded baskets for a little bit. So, just trying to make sure we get stops. I mean, that's our main focus. I think the offensive man will take care of itself. As long as we have good intentions, trying to play for each other. But like I said, getting stops on defensive end, that's where the game is won. So, that's what we focused in on.
And then I know you had a rough shooting night, but down the stretch, you still hit those clutch shots. What's the mentality knowing that your team is going to need you to hit those shots down the stretch, and you're in a game where you may not have hit a lot of shots early on?
I had forgot the missed shots. I didn't know I shot 22 shots until, just now. So I think just, clearing your mind after a miss or, if something goes wrong and just trying to stay with the game, stay locked in. That's what I did, and I finished strong. That's how you know you've been that guy for the longest.
My last one is for Kalib. It looked like it was a conscious effort to throw the ball inside to you early on in the game. Did you know coming into that game that was going to be the game plan for you?
No. I went in the game just intending to do my job for my team. Every time I screen, I rolled to the rim. I made another defender help, and then when I got it, I was like, I'm a Big 12 player too on scholarship too, so I got to go show them that I can go make plays down here. I want to show Coach Mike, I'm still that big, even though I had a rough game against TCU. I'm still you're big that you can depend on to go, give you points in the paint.
I think he was locked in the whole time. He did a really good job getting in post position the whole game, and it just made it easy on the guards. So the numbers show that.
Appreciate you.
Does that also kind of speak a little bit to the evolution of this team during the course of the season? I think maybe early on, the team was maybe a little bit more inclined to, you hate to say it in these terms, but kind of settle for threes. You felt like today there was the pounding in. Do you feel like that speaks to maybe a bigger evolution?
They got into the bonus really early in the game. So, getting to the line, trying to put the bigs in foul trouble, things like that. They have a lot of guys that can block shots. So, trying to, not shy away from it and really put pressure on the rim. That's what we wanted to do. I don't know how we shot 13 threes and made 5 of them. So, that's pretty efficient, and we'll take that.
And then plus, honestly, with our size though, so I don't think Cade being able to post up, ice, and maybe when he gets back, we have so many guys that can post up. I don't think we should shy away from, just imposing our will in the paint. So.
Our next question comes from Robert Allen from Triple Play Sports. Go ahead, Robert.
Yeah, Kalib, I'm going to stick with you on a couple of questions here. Let's start with your post moves. When you were at Memorial, I don't know how much you really had to be precise, but you did in the first half. That was kind of a clinic on post moves.
Yeah, they're really athletic. Coach Mike preached that about them. They love to go, get the highlight block, and I respect them on that because they have verticals out the world. So I told myself if they're going to be aggressive, just give them a pump fake, and then once you give them that pump fake, they're going to be cautious on dumping again. So then you get to that hook, and there was times it's just I had to make my feel on if he's playing me on the top so much, just go baseline. But you got to make sure you see everything in the middle before you go baseline. It's just basic things I work on with Cannon and Cade because, in practice, me and Cade players are one-on-ones in the post, and I learn things from him. So, it's honestly just practice and working on it.
Okay, on the defensive end, you played 41 minutes. I don't know how many times you've done that in a game, but in the last part, especially in the second overtime, did you just do a 0?
Yes.
Okay. You had 4 fouls, yet you had at least 2, maybe 2.5 blocks in the last overtime, and you did it without even coming close to committing that 5th foul. That's talk about that process. You got 4 fouls, but you still want to block the shot.
Well, I'm a shot blocker, believe it or not, man. In high school, I made a living on blocking shots. And I could say this year, at the beginning of the season, I didn't show I could block shots. I didn't really like show presence in the paint. But now I'm trying to show people like, I mean, with 4 fouls, 3 fouls, 2, 1, 0. I mean, I'm still a shot blocker, and you're gonna have to like understand you're gonna have to understand when you come in like in the paint, I'm gonna be right there, or like you gonna have to think about it. And those two blocks, honestly, I should have had 3, but every time somebody tries to like put their shoulder into my chest, I always cave in and I foul. So then I learned from my mistake on that one from Cade talking to me in ice, and that's how I got that 1 block.
Good game.
Thank you.
Our next question comes from Marshall Scott from Pistols Firing. Go ahead, Marshall.
Yeah, Cade, we talked about your offensive struggles, maybe finding your shot today. Texas had 22 offensive boards. You guys had 22 turnovers. You guys didn't have MA, and you still beat the number 6 team in the country. Does this kind of show how deadly this team can be if you guys get a few more things clicking?
Definitely. I think, the biggest thing with us is we're going to compete with whoever's in front of us. We've had some lapses through the year where, we've shown what we look like, when we're not locked in, but when we're locked in and we're playing hard and playing for each other, I don't think there's any team that can come in here and say that they have an easy win on it, for sure.
And then you picked up 2 fouls again early today, but Mike kind of let you roll a little bit longer. He brought you back in sooner. Kind of what does that what did he tell you, I guess, coming back into the game, and how did you avoid fouling out?
I started off the game with 2 fouls early on too, and I sat for a long time. And so this game, I think he was just trying to, he told me he just wanted to test me out, see how long I could go. And I didn't pick up another one, I don't think, until the second half. So it worked out for sure.
And then Kalib, for you, Avery, he had a double-double as well with rebounds, being, the shortest guy on the floor just about. Kind of how have you seen him progress over these last few weeks, especially?
Avery's been doing good, man. He's been consistent and everything. And hey, Coach Mike told us the other day, man, Avery plays hard every game, every possession. He might do some crazy things here and there, but I mean, Avery's my dog, man. And Avery practices hard, really. And I mean, it's not surprising Avery got 10 rebounds this game, because if you think about it, he had 8 the first time we played him. So I wasn't surprised when they say he had 10.
All right, appreciate it, guys.
Hey, Cade, to Marshall's question about kind of how lethal this team can be and kind of the different ways that the team can win. When you missed that shot at the end of overtime, right there in front of the rim, you had this look on your face. It was just this incredulous, I can't believe it look. You go over to the bench and you could see guys, the camera picked up guys picking you up, in particular Bernie. Can you talk about the things that maybe don't show up in a box score that help make this team dangerous, moments like that? Because not too long after that, you go and make that the key shot in double overtime.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of guys that, just throughout the program that, I feel like don't get enough credit for, why we've been so successful. Bernie, from day one, he's been our biggest cheerleader. Every day he comes in and works hard. He doesn't complain, things like that. So I know he's only made us better, by just the effort that he's put into the program. And that's down the line. Donovan Williams, Keelan Boone, Flavors, all those guys. Even when they're not in the game, things aren't going well. They're locked in. And that's all the way down to our walk-ons, Weston and Carson. So shout out to those guys for sure. They make sure that, we're prepared in practice. And then in the game, they make sure that you're not hanging your head.
Our next question comes from Barry Trammell from the Oklahoman. Go ahead, Barry.
Yeah, Cade, you guys last month, it seems like, been playing zone and man pretty close to the same amount of time. You went zone most of the day, and it seemed like you were sort of daring Texas to shoot. Why do you think that was so successful, and why was the zone so good today?
I think our activity, for the most part, whoever the 2 top guys were, whether it was Avery and Bryce or Rondell, Flavors, anybody, I think they were really active up on the ball. They picked up the ball early. They made the top of the zone, tough to deal with. So, they made it a lot easier on the 2 wing guys throughout the game. And I think we definitely didn't want them to. Definitely didn't want to dare them to shoot the ball. They're a really good 3-point shooting team, but we try to get as many hands on in contest and things like that. So, try to make it as tough as we could, and I think 5:35, we'll live with that.
Our next question comes from Garen Emick from the Tulsa World. Go ahead, Garen.
Fellas, how much fun is it to play on this team?
Oh man, it's unbelievable, man. Getting to play with Cade Cunningham, Isaac Likely, Bryce Williams, just playing with this whole roster, man, is fun because we challenge each other every day. We compete, we laugh, we fight. We're brothers, man. At the end of the day, we built a bond during the summer and throughout the season, and just playing the games like that, man, it shows. You saw how happy we were at the end of the game, and you saw like y'all said, man, y'all saw how Bernard and everybody tried to pick him up after he missed that shot, because like obviously everybody expected him to make that, but I mean things happen, and we're brotherhood, so we picked him up, and you saw what happened in second overtime. It hit probably the biggest shot of the game. So I mean, this is a family, this is brotherhood, it's fun, and having Coach Mike as the coach, man, it's just unbelievable. Sure.
Cade, you enjoying the ride?
Definitely. From day one, I've been able to come in, and pretty much our whole freshman class, we've been able to come in. The guys that were already here welcomed us. They, made sure we knew what we were doing. And from then on, it's been nothing but looking out for each other and trying to have fun playing the game we love. So it's been a fun season for sure, but we got a lot more business to take care of.
Our next question comes from Ryan Breeden from the Ocala. Go ahead, Ryan.
Yeah, Cade, you picked up your fourth foul with about 5 minutes to go in the second half. And then from then you played basically the rest of the game and you scored 10 of your 19 points after you picked up your fourth foul. But can you talk a little bit of how you had to change your game, especially on defense after that fourth foul?
Yeah, I mean, I think the other four guys on the squad were definitely looking out for me, making it tough on the other four guys that I wasn't guarding. So, having good team defense around you is definitely a lot easier to, play without fouling. But I think, just not letting it sit in the back of your head and still trying to play free. I think that's the biggest thing. Like, if I try to play too conservative, then that's only going to hurt the team at the end of the day. So I still want to be aggressive offensively and just be smart defensively, and it worked out.
And then there was a span there near, I guess, the 5-minute point of the second half again, where you guys had a few turnovers in a row, but then you called a timeout, kind of got resettled, regrouped, and then went from there. What was that message during that timeout?
Slow down. I think, we were getting a little bit too riled up. The game was just moving too fast for us mentally at the time. And coach kind of, corralled us all and calmed us all down. And from there, we got the game plan again and, tried to execute it.
Thanks.
Yeah.
All right, our final question is going to come from Jacob Unruh from the Oklahoman. Go ahead, Jacob.
Kalib, you said something interesting earlier about working with Cannon and Cade both in the low post and practice one-on-one and stuff. Kind of describe that and how that's made you better.
Well, like everybody knows, he probably or is the most versatile player in the freshman class. And, his brother played the post in college and everything. So every day we're doing hook shots as a team, and then we play one-on-one. And the thing is, he has played the post in high school, and now he has played in college.
Yeah, they don't like me on that block for sure.
But see, the thing is, there's days like Cade will win it. There's days when I'll win it. There's days when Ice wins it. MA.
Yeah, we compete down there. So
like, Cannon gives us all the little tricks and everything, so it can help us in the game. But then he says this: if you're gonna do it, you better do it the way we practice it. Because try to do it on your own, you better make it. Because if not, you're gonna be on the bench. So we just compete, and then if I tell him something about like how his moves, he tells me something, and I'll listen, and I'll apply it, and I just take it in.
Cannon try to get out there and give us buckets too sometimes.
Yeah.
Every once in a while.
I ain't gonna lie to you though. Cannon is a different monster.
He tried to.
He does his face-up game is crucial.
So, Cade, how much have you seen Kalib improve?
Man, a lot. I mean, I was impressed from him, my last year, whenever I was just watching his freshman year. You know, it was him. He didn't have as many, you know, minutes as this year, but I knew coming in that this was going to be a big year for him. And I think, you know, he was just thinking a little bit too much early on, but you see, whenever he kind of clears his mind and is just having fun and playing, he's one of those names in the Big 12. He is. He's one of those bigs that, I mean, he got 22 and 15 tonight. And he didn't force anything. He went 8 for 13. You know what I'm saying? He just played a cool game. So plus 21, like that, those are big time numbers. And I think earlier on, whenever I first got here, his mind was crowded. He wasn't going to be doing that. But now that he's kind of settled down and got comfortable, it's only up from there.
And finally, for me, one last question. Looking ahead a little bit, Cade, you get your one chance probably to play at Kansas on Monday. It's not going to be the full crowd like you would normally expect, but what do you think about going to Kansas on Monday for a game?
Oh, yeah. I mean, Kansas is definitely one of those destinations in the Big 12 that everybody kind of looks at the schedule and looks for their name early on. But, I mean, this conference is tough. There's a lot of big-time games. So I'm going to approach it and know that, you know, there's going to be a good team over there and approach it the same way I approach all the other games.
Awesome. Thanks, fellas.
All right, guys. Well, we appreciate your insight for sure. That'll do it for questions. But before we leave, just want to make sure, kind of like how we always do, and try and figure out, you know, what's most important to you. Maybe is there something that we missed, something that we didn't go over that really matters to you guys?
No, I ain't got none of this game. Okay.
I don't got none.
All right. Well, congratulations on the win. It was a hard fought one.
Yeah.
Go Pokes.
Take good care.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Coach's bill.
Coach, congratulations on the win.
Thanks a lot.
You know, without benefit of having gone over the tape or anything like that, what do you think was the most important thing today?
You know, counter to Wednesday night, we played with an unbelievable amount of urgency. And even though it wasn't pretty most of the night, we had a determination about us that we were going to do everything we could to put ourselves in position to win. And that's all we asked. That's why I was so disappointed the other day, because we didn't play with that fire and that grit to start the game. Now, we tried to get ourselves going late, and you can't do that in this league. So I was proud of the response that the guys had from a competitive standpoint. We defended at a high level for most of the night, and that was an Oklahoma State throwback win, that one that maybe Coach Sutton and Coach Ivey will be proud of.
You know, earlier when the guys were in there talking too about, you know, kind of pounding it inside and making that part of the identity, not just settling for 3-pointers. You know, was that part of the game plan going in, or was that something that they just took upon themselves when they saw what was happening out there in the flow of the game?
No, we thought, I mean, we needed KB to show up and get going early, specifically with MA out. And then we always try to get Cade and Ice in there quite a bit. And so we made a conscious effort to play through them early inside. And we knew that we didn't want to fall in love with taking a bunch of jump shots. They're really, really good defensively at closing out and running you off the line. And we knew that would mean that guys were going to be making more one-on-one plays because the way they guard. So I'm not really surprised by the low assist number, but I am pleased that the guys stuck with the plan. We didn't start settling for a bunch of threes when it got late. I think we only took 13 for the game, and that's 50 minutes and not 40. So the guys stuck with the game plan and played with a great amount of urgency.
Proud of Kalib today?
Yeah. I mean, I get frustrated with him as much as anybody, but he knows that I love him like my own child. I just see so much in him. And I've talked about what I think his potential is numerous times. For him, he's just got to figure out how to do it every day. And that's the hard part. And it's what makes really good players really good, is because they do separate themselves from the average person who can only do it every now and then or have to be challenged to respond. But hopefully tonight's a step in the right direction. And with a quick turnaround, we'll see how it goes on Monday.
Members of the media, if you have a question for Oklahoma State coach Mike Boynton, please click raise hand and we'll try and get to everybody. Our first question is going to come from Frank Bonner from the Tulsa World. Go ahead, Frank.
Hey, Mike, going back to Kalib, how have you seen his post moves progress? He talked about in practice that he's been working on that a lot.
Yeah, Coach Cunningham has done a really, really good job with him. I mean, I know everybody thinks he's just kind of a stick figure over there because his brother signed with us, but he played college basketball at a pretty high level, played overseas, and has coached this game for a long time. And he's really helped. He's done a really good job of helping develop his confidence and footwork. He does a really good job every day with those guys. And I think because of that consistency with him, that he feels very, very comfortable when he's in there, especially one-on-one, that he can get to his spot and get a shot off. He's playing with a lot of confidence when he gets it in there.
And obviously, Cade didn't have his best shooting night, but down the stretch, he hit the big shots that he needed to hit. I guess how nice is it to know that Cade can still do what he needs to do and not get in his head when he's not shooting well?
Yeah, the most important thing for me is that he still took 22 shots because that's what really good players do. You got to understand, he doesn't play for his percentages. I'm sure he would have rather shot better, but he, for the most part, tried to take the right shots. He played in attack mode. I thought there were a few times, especially early in the second half, where he was trying to drive into the lane. He got close and maybe was getting bumped off the spot and didn't necessarily get the call. But I was glad that he stuck with that aggressive mentality throughout the game and obviously stepped up late and made some huge shots and free throws for us.
Thank you, Mike.
Our next question comes from Jacob Unruh from the Oklahoman. Go ahead, Jacob.
Mike, were you overall pleased with kind of the final minutes of each, the second half and overtime's kind of the play selection and the choices made?
Yeah, I mean, I can't remember the plays specifically. I know I think at the end of regulation it was tied and we let Cade kind of go make a decision. Missed the shot there. Thinking the overtime. I can't remember what happened, to be honest. I know we wound up getting a steal. He made a great play, and I know a lot will be focused on the things he didn't do well today. But you talk about a big play with 4 seconds to go, getting a steal. He missed the layup, but that really, in many ways, kept us out of being in position that they would get a great shot. And so he made some big plays. I have to go back and look at the film to see exactly what we got, but I think we ran a lot of high ball screens with him. And I trust that for the most part, he's going to make good decisions in those situations.
Can you kind of put in perspective what you've seen from him in clutch time the last week alone? I mean, Arkansas, TCU, and today. He's had his big moments. He's had some down moments, but can you kind of put in perspective what you've seen from him?
A 19-year-old, really talented dude who's still figuring it out. And I have to keep reminding myself because I want him to make the right play all the time too. Right? I want him to make all the shots that he takes, and I want him to make all the right passes at the right time. But college defenses are a little bit different. The spacing's a little bit different, and he's still adapting to how people guard him in those situations. Arkansas did a little bit more of one-on-one defense against him, and so it was easier to just get to a spot and make his shots on his own. TCU, they actually brought a little bit more help, but the help was late, and their guards were smaller. And then Texas's length, I think, really closed up some passing lanes for him. So even his passing lanes weren't as open. I know he had the one late turnover right before he got the steal, I think in overtime. And so part of that is you got to give credit to the other team because they're game planning and they got pretty good coaches as well.
And I have to ask about Bryce. He had the big block. He's come up with clutch plays too. What have you seen from Bryce in these moments?
I mean, Bryce is obviously, everybody know, an elite athlete. He has the ability to make up for mistakes. Now, the mistakes have to be made first. And so he's doing a lot to help his teammates overcome some things. But that's what him, Avery, and Rondell do. They play with unbelievable effort and energy, and they never quit. Avery's, I thought, deflection on that lob pass in transition, I have to go back and look at the film. I wasn't close enough to see whether it was a foul or not. That was a big play because the kid ends up making only one free throw there. But those three guys bring incredible energy and passion to our team, and it's infectious. They allow for guys like Ice, who's still fighting this foot deal, to play 46 minutes. And it looks like he didn't do much, but we couldn't win this game without Isaac Likely out there doing what he did tonight.
And one last from me, what's MA's status?
I don't know. He kind of jammed his foot on Thursday at practice. I thought he was going to be able to go. He didn't, well, actually it wasn't Thursday because we didn't practice much. So I guess it was yesterday. The days are running together so quick on me. We tried to give it a go and shoot around today. And then he warmed up a little bit and just didn't feel like he could go out there and give us everything he has. And what I tell the kids all the time, if you're going to be out there, there's a certain level that you need to be able to play at. And if you can't play at that level, then you're going to be out there as a hindrance to our team rather than, helping us have success. So we'll get another evaluation on tomorrow. We got a quick turnaround, so I don't know his status for Monday, but I have more information hopefully in the morning when we get back together.
Awesome. Thanks, Mike.
Our next question comes from Marshall Scott from Pistols Firing. Go ahead, Marshall.
Yeah, Mike, it seems like a lot of times with Kalib's game, you can tell in the first few minutes whether he's going to have a good game or whether he's going to have a bad game. I think the first play you drew up was to him. Was that kind of to try and get him going early?
Yeah, we challenged them, especially with MA out. We knew we had to try to get something inside. They got great length, and maybe we could go attack them and get them in some foul trouble, which I think was a bit of a success, and got us close to the free throw line. But when we play through him, I think he does feel like he's more of a part of it. And, he's one of those guys, like talk about Cade, he can turn it on in the second half because he's going to have his hands when he plays. Maybe we got to make a concerted effort to try to run action for him, get him in position to get shots. We try to go through him again and start the second half. I can't remember exactly how that play went, but I think that certainly helps. Now, what we got to do at some point is get him to not be able to start the game great and still play well. Right? That's the ultimate sign, is that you just can't be all or nothing, right? And he's still growing in that area.
They had, I believe, 22 offensive rebounds tonight. You guys play a zone, so that's kind of going to happen. How do you kind of risk reward playing a zone with giving up offensive boards?
You're in the pickle a little bit with them because you need to keep those guards out of the lane because they can all drive and kick to each other to create open shots. But the thing you can't do is overhelp when they get in there. I thought we did a good job of not leaving those perimeter guys. And even when they did kick to them, we were there. So we forced them into some tough threes that they took. They got a few open looks, but not a ton. But you limit yourself in terms of what you do with your big when they do get into the lane. So if you help, again, they can go get rebounds at the 15-foot mark. We don't have that many guys that can do that. I don't know if we have any. We can get them at 12 with Bryce and maybe KB on a good day. But Jericho Sims and Kai and Greg Brown, those guys are elite athletes. So we sacrificed a little bit in that regard, knowing that we wanted to take away the threes and we were going to live with hoping those guys would miss some of those runners or not convert the layups.
You guys didn't shoot particularly well. You give up all the offensive rebounds. You have 22 turnovers. You're without MA. Kind of does all of this happening and then you guys still winning against the number 6 team in the country? Is that kind of promising for what this team can be?
There's always two ways to look at it, right? Say we got lucky. I don't think so. I think the kids fought and earned a win today. I think we earned a win over a really good team who we played 2 really competitive basketball games. Save a 17-01 in Austin. Maybe this was a sweep over them. So I think we have a really good team. I've said that time and time again. The problem is we haven't figured out yet, and this is part of having a young team, is again what Caleb's going through. Can you then do it again? Can you get yourself up? This is really hard. Can you get yourself up to bring that kind of energy to fight and compete as hard as you did today? Because the next game is just as hard. So I hope by not playing well and winning that we can build on that, knowing that we don't have to shoot the ball great. And sometimes we can make some mistakes and maybe overcome it.
Appreciate it, Mike.
Marshall talked about the risk reward about playing zone against Texas. And it's so obvious when you watch Texas play, their length and athleticism. I mean, it's just so apparent. But maybe something that hasn't really been talked about much is, playing zone against them. Does Oklahoma State kind of personnel wise serve as a fairly decent matchup for Texas with some length and athleticism? Is that something that's maybe getting missed a little bit?
I think that's fair. We played well against them really in my time here, and they've always had length and athleticism. I think the way we play, I think our guys are prepared. I think our staff did a really good job of letting them know what to expect. And then the kids went out there and executed. Part of the reason we stuck with the zone so much because we were dealing with some foul trouble issues in that first half. Kalib, Cade, and Ice all had 2 fouls pretty early. And not having MA, we couldn't just go out there and guard them and continue to foul. So the zone was applicable for a lot of reasons today.
And our next question comes from Barry Trammell from the Oklahoman. Go ahead, Barry.
Yeah, Mike, the way you guys play defense today, I mean, offense comes and goes for everybody, but if you play that kind of defense every game, what's the upside for this team?
I think we can beat anybody in the country. And I'm not saying that in a naive or arrogant way. I think we have good enough players offensively to figure it out on the offensive end. And that was what was so disappointing and hurtful the other night. We didn't play with that defensive edge because I feel like if we did from the start, we wouldn't be here trying to get off of a tough loss on the road. And so I think when we're dialed in defensively, when we're in the right space mentally, when guys are willing to sacrifice having to cover for one another, then again, when we get on offense, got a guy who can go make plays on his own. We got a post player who's shown promise that he can score. And then you got guys who can get out in transition and make shots, and Avery and Bryce and Rondell. And so I like the pieces we got. It's been a long way to build this roster to where we are, but I feel like we're right in position where I hope we can be at this point in my time as head coach.
Our next question comes from Garen Emick from the Tulsa World. Go ahead, Garen.
Mike, with a coach trying to get his young team and talent to realize its potential, I know there can be stress along the way, and you've had some close games where I know that stress is set in. But to flip that, how much fun is it to coach this group in particular in terms of, again, getting it to realize its ceiling?
I tell our kids all the time, I feel like I'm like one of the luckiest 10 people in the whole world. I love what I do, and I have a bunch of guys who believe in me. And that's all I need, is to have those kids in that locker room totally bought in to what we're telling them and trying to allow us to coach them and have success. And so I have a blast. And I think because the way I approach it, our staff follows, and then the kids know that this should be something they enjoy, right? These games should be fun. We're trying to play a basketball season through a pandemic. If you're not going to enjoy it now, like, you really should do something else. And so when you have a chance to go out there, and our crowd was terrific again, our students were unbelievable. Like, if you're going to go out there and play, you need to enjoy it. And when you play with the right kind of edge, the right competitiveness, it should be fun. And obviously the outcomes do matter, but the process also is really, really important. I think sometimes we get so focused, right? There's a balance you got to strike. You want the outcome. We want to win. But if you can't enjoy going through this, what we're doing every day with these kids, then I shouldn't be coaching. I should be doing something else.
Are the young guys embracing what they need to learn in terms of coachability and that kind of thing?
Yeah, I think so. It's not been easy, right? Sometimes you got to make guys uncomfortable to get the point across. You know, Thursday's film session wasn't fun. That's a part of the deal you have to deal with, right? You got to look Cade in the eye and say, hey, man, when we get in a situation, we got to take the last shot. We can't go with however many seconds. Now, we also got to get back on defense. So those things are challenging because you got to know that the kids really know you care about them when you challenge them. And I think the guys have responded every time. Cade took his medicine, just like the rest of the guys, and he was ready to come out here and play and put our team in position to have success, no matter how good or bad he played individually.
Thanks.
All right, well, that'll do it for questions, but I feel like maybe we need to drop something in on the quick turnaround with KU coming up. Maybe can you look ahead to that one just a little bit here for best you can?
I really can't, honestly. My head's throbbing. I'm exhausted. But I know they're really good. I know that. I know they got a Hall of Fame coach. I know they still, you know, although they haven't had the success this year, kind of running through the league that they've had here in the last decade or so. But I know we won't be favorites, that's for sure. So we better get prepared and try to figure out how to deal with Dave McCormick and a really good defender, Marcus Garrett, and guys who can shoot, and the coach who will definitely have his team ready to play.
All right, well, that'll do it. But before we let you go, is there anything maybe that we missed that's important to you that you want to make sure that we use this time to go over?
Our students were sensational. I don't know how many games we got left or how many we're going to be able to play, but man, I can't imagine during this time playing the season that there's a better environment in college basketball than what we got going on in Gallagher. So kudos to our fans, specifically our students, and I look forward to seeing them again when we get a chance to play here.
Coach, thank you so much. Congratulations on the win. We appreciate you as always.
Thank you.
Members of the media, we appreciate you too.